Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, those all around, I'm greeting you like a circus, because it is kind of a circus. The world that we live in is a ginormous circus, and I believe that I have some information that is pertinent to a lot of you out there. Now, first and foremost, I do not want to offend anybody. My mission here is not to offend anyone, but that being said, my job is sometimes kind of offensive, because I must tell the truth. And the truth of the matter is there's a lot of deception in the world that we are in. And I believe time is short. I believe our resumes for the kingdom to come are coming to fruition soon. That we will ultimately be in a position to either inherit the kingdom to come, or we will be rejected because we are lawless people that do not have the faith in the Messiah, Yahushua. So as we are sprucening ourselves up, and as the Bible often alludes, it's a lot about a bridegroom and about a wedding. It's about a wedding feast. And it's about that day when you are getting married and the way that you should be appearing to your groom, to the groom, and that is for all of us. That is for all of us. And so when we are looking at the kingdom to come and we are looking at the bride, and we are the people, we are the bride of the Messiah's, the groom. We have an ultimate leader that is on his way, and we want to present ourselves in a way that is acceptable to him. And so I put a poll out there, and I said, do you believe it is a sin for women to shave their legs and their armpits? And I'm telling you this because we have had discussions in our house where this is happening, where we are talking about this. And I think it began a little bit ago when my wife was telling me that the end of her razor, there's something at the end of it, and it's now it's known to cause cancers or a bunch of other stuff or something of the sort.
It's the moisture strip.
The moisture strip on the side of these, I guess, is some sort of satanic Venus looking razors.
All of them have it.
All of them have it. So there's a moisture strip on all of these razors, and they are cancer causing.
They have chemicals, full of chemicals.
Full of chemicals that are very, very, very bad for people. And so I was thinking about this, and as I get to thinking about this, a couple of verses came to my mind, and then I started thinking even more about how we were created in the image of our Creator, how He created us perfect. And I was even going so far as to thinking the other day about my nose hairs. Yeah. And if I didn't have nose hairs, every time I sucked a bug in, I could potentially gag. Something bad could happen. Every single thing on us in every direction is there for a purpose and is meant because creation is perfect. Now, if we alter a perfect creation, that seems like we're doing a disservice to the Creator and probably a disservice to us. So I started looking into this whole concept of women shaving their legs and shaving their armpits, and I didn't know where it came from. And I didn't know when it began. I didn't know any of this stuff. And we are told over and over and over not to do things as the pagans do them. We are told over and over and over that we should not do stuff like the nations, right? We should not do stuff like the Gentiles. And when we do stuff like the Gentiles, we get close to them. And so I want to start with a little bit of history first. And let's look into this right here, because this is in the 1900s. This was an advertisement in 1910 for Gillette. And let's just read where it began. It says, woman is the great civilizer. If it were not for her, man would revert to whiskers and carry a club. Women does much for Gillette because it is her presence, her influence that puts the emphasis on good clothes, clean linen, and a clean shave. She admires the clean, healthy skin of the man who uses a Gillette. She does not approve the ladylike massage finish of the tonsorial artist. The massaged appearance to be class, largely because she said so. There is something fine and wholesome about the Gillette shave. It does not reek of violet water or pomades. It says the use of Gillette has a decidedly good effect on the skin. It gives a healthy look that suggests the outdoor rather than the indoor man. And it goes off into this. And we look at these people, and these people are, this is Western civilization, right? This is what the West looks like, and it looked like back in the day. So this is very interesting. Let's read where this came from. Concerns about personal experience have often motivated hair removal practices. These same concerns have frequently been used to create and reinforce identity and gender norms within American cultures. Companies have marketed their shaving products in ways that link the use of a product with an increase in the user's attractiveness, masculinity, or femininity. Right? This sounds good already. This already sounds something that Hasatan completely rolled. Cultural standards, practices, and fashions for men's facial hair have shifted over time, and razor interventions and marketing have played a role in those shifts. During the 1800s, shaving was done with a steel straight razor, often by a barber. When Gillette patented the first safety razor in 1904, it became easier for men to shave themselves at home. As a result, being clean-shaven became both more convenient and very fashionable. Because personal safety razors and used disposable blades, men who shaved every single day also had to purchase a constant supply of blades. Marketing for men's personal shaving products emphasized the idea that the man with a clean-shaven face is a hygienic, modern, and civilized man. And I'll tell you, with a big bushy beard, that sounds beta male to me. American beauty standards and practices for women were also affected by the innovation and marketing of the safety razor. Beginning in the early 20th century, manufacturers of safety razors seeking to expand their market promoted the idea that body hair on women is inherently masculine and indelicate, as well as unhygienic. Okay, I'm not gonna stop here, but I want to stop here with this, because if you guys don't realize this, women, and men, you guys all got played by the marketing people. And prior to this, here we're in 1900s, right? Women didn't shave like this, right? You would be weird to find a woman that was shaved. That's not such a thing. So now we have marketing and we have Western culture. We have the pagans, right? There's North America, without a shadow of doubt, is a pagan country. You could say that you're a Christian country, and I would totally agree, because Christians don't believe that you need to keep the Sabbath, which I believe Christians are pagans as well. They don't keep the Sabbath. They don't eat the right foods. They don't do any of that stuff. So prior to 1900s, say in the 1850s, 150 years ago, you have never seen a shaved woman, because, and this is what I'm trying to break on my wife, is her dogma and her indoctrination that somehow women need to be different than what the Creator made them. That somehow, because of man-made indoctrination, right? There's nothing in the Torah, there's nothing in the Bible or anything about this that women should shave, right? This is what the pagans do. This is completely what the pagans do. So let's continue on. Gillette introduced the first razor marketed specifically to women, called the Milady de Colette, in 1950. In the 1920s, the new fashion for sleeveless tops and short dresses meant that the legs and armpits of American women were now visible in social situations, and advertisers seized the opportunity to encourage women to shave their legs and their armpits. Because the term shaving, again, the marketing people, was associated with masculine facial hair practices, marketers were careful not to use that term in their advertising. Ladies, listen up again. Rather, they encouraged women to make their legs and armpits smooth. Likewise, razors were not marketed to women for facial hair removal. Instead, women with facial hair were offered products to bleach, wax, or dissolve facial hair. So I go over the history of this just to get us to here. Let's get us to here. And let's look at just some basics of Jeremiah 10:2. And let's look and see if we can figure this out. It says, this is what the Lord, Yahuwah, says. Do not learn the ways of the nations, or be terrified by signs in the heavens. Through the nations are terrified by them. Another translation right here. Do not act like the other nations. The English Standard says, learn not the way of the nations. Here's another. King James says, do not learn the way of the heathen. Well, what are heathen? Well, heathen are people that are outside of the covenant of Yahuwah. If you are not keeping the laws, statutes, and commands of our Creator, then you're a heathen. You're a pagan. You're outside of the covenant, right? It says, do not learn the way of the Gentiles, the heathen. So the New King James says, do not learn the way of the Gentiles. My friends, we do not want to be Gentiles. This practice of shaving, this came from the Gentiles. It came from North America. So that goes into, this isn't the one here. This goes into, let's go into this first. When you are shaving, and my wife and I had another discussion over this, because she says, Jason, you don't cut yourself every time that you're shaving. That's just rare. And I said, but the Torah says we're not to cut ourselves. And she's like, and so I'm debating this with my wife. And again, I'm bringing this to all of us, because if we are truly the priests and priestess, the people that will make up the kingdom of Yahuwah, the people of Yahuwah, I guess are the right word, the Hebrew children, then we have a standard. And a peculiar people is going to look a certain way. If you believe that you are going to make it over to the kingdom to come, and they give you a disposable razor out of the gate, you're mistaken. If you're not happy with your physical appearance of having little tufts under the arm and hairy legs, women, you're going to be in for a rude awakening when you go to the kingdom. And if you make the kingdom and you have to look natural, right? We're not going to be grooming ourselves. And, this entire art of grooming ourselves, this was to make us look better so that we fit in with society, right? We believe that we're not cling. And my wife has that same stuff. She's like, I would look like a man. And I'm like, that is only because you've been brainwashed that you would look like a man, because if not, Yah has created you as a woman. In fact, he said it is good, it is great. Let's look at this. Deuteronomy 14:1. Ye are the children of Yahuwah Elohim. Ye shall not cut yourselves, and notice a comma, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. Now right there you could say, Jason, that says this is about the dead. And I can agree with you, but there is a comma. I see this comma as two sets. I see there's two parts of this. An or a nor is two separate things. So it says you shall not cut yourselves. Well, should we take this as a commandment, or should we not take this as a commandment? Well, if we're only taking this to the dead, if we're only presenting this to the dead, and it wasn't a commandment to cut ourselves, then we could cut ourselves, right? And it wouldn't make a difference. But as holy people of Yahuwah, who are supposed to be set apart, who are supposed to be sanctified, who are supposed to be clean, who are supposed to be peculiar, living in a certain way, you're not presenting yourself to Yahuwah as shaved legs and shaved armpits, right? Verse 2, for you are a holy people unto Yahuwah Elohim, and Yahuwah has chosen you to be a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are on the earth. So here we have a kind of a command, right? We're not supposed to cut ourselves. And even though you don't cut yourself every single time, I remember as a man shaving back in the day, there were some points I ended up looking like this fella, right? I would be like, I had a dull razor or something. Yes, this was probably back in the day. I probably need to change my razors out. But I realized that most women shave under the water, in the bath, whatever it is, right? And so you wouldn't see the blood that's coming out. And so you will have microscopic cuts that you probably won't see. And my wife would argue with me. She's like, that's not true. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I think if you're cutting off stuff, you're going to see microscopic bloodlets. But if you don't, the times that you do cut yourself, you're violating the command, right? And at the very least, you're doing something that is dangerous to yourself. And what do you mean by dangerous? How's that dangerous? And if you research any of the stuff out there, that's what it seems like women should do, is shave, because it's been branded like that, and millions and billions of dollars in marketing for blades and foams and creams and soaps and lathers and everything else, and perfumes that all go along with this. The people that are making the money off us when it doesn't need to be made like that. So take a look at this. This is, Fox News is some sort of satanic crap. But here's the story. Women has leg amputated after infection from shaving cut. Now, that's just one news story. There's tons of them, and there's all these fact checkers. And the fact checkers are out there like, oh, that doesn't happen. But then you start looking at some of this stuff and you look at this. This is probably normal to a lot of people, right? These are what they call, I think they call them strawberry bumps. And you just get these, right? When you research this stuff on the internet, it's like most people have these little strawberry bumps, and it's not a big deal, right? But these strawberry bumps can develop into this stuff like right here. This is called folliculitis or whatever it is. This in and of itself is basically an ingrown hair, right? Oh, big deal, Jason, an ingrown hair. Well, yeah, it's an ingrown hair up until it develops into this. This lady ended up, she was shaving, and look at whatever infection she ended up with. You can see the razor marks on her legs. You can see where she shaved. This is insanity. That Yah is not going to want a peculiar, set-apart people looking like this. See this lady's leg? This lady had her leg amputated because she ended up with a cut. It developed into some sort of sepsis, and MRSA developed into her. Look at this. If you are shaving your legs, you are opening up for disease and for all sorts of stuff that is being touched by. And this is another lady. She had to have her leg amputated. And if you look at it, it looks like the pictures we're seeing of stuff of today that I can't mention on YouTube or they'll kick me off. But who wants to look like this? So when we go back to being a peculiar, set-apart people, like in verse 2, we want to make sure that we are ready for that. So the bottom line is shaving your legs a sin? Well, if you cut yourself, I would say yes, that you shouldn't be cutting yourself. Even though the other part of it was for the dead, there's a reason we shouldn't do self-harm and self-mutilation. So even if you don't want to take that as a commandment, which I understand, I know I'm going to get a ton of feedback, probably a ton of people that are unsubsubbing, and I wish you guys the absolute best. I love you all. I'm super, super sorry that I offended you if you do. But it's right here, right? Do not learn the ways of the nations. Do not learn the ways of the nations. And if we want to be set apart, this is where we must go. So guys, to everybody out there, much love. I know this is a crazy topic, but you're going to find these kind of topics here because I think it's important that we address all of this stuff that we've been dialed into, the programming that we have all been dialed into. I mean, I awoken in North America. I awoken in Babylon. My wife and I did. We had no idea we were part of the tribes of Yisrael. Right? It took us years and years and years to ever figure that out, that we are the lost tribes of Yisrael. And once we figured that out, then we want to set ourselves apart. And we want to go even steps further. And I mean, still, even to this day, we're debating this. And it's ringing bells to me like, oh, this is something we shouldn't be doing. And so it's obviously something that's been set on my heart that I should be talking to you all about. I would love to hear your guys' comments in the bottom. I know this could get a little weird in the comment section, but much love to everybody out there. I am out.